Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to know about the theories of firm size, growth of the firms and the limits to growth of the firm. Learn how the theories of firm size, technological, institutional and organizational explain the firm size. Identify factors that limit growth of the firm and understand the strategies adopted for growth. Introduction. Over the years, the size of firms has gained significant importance in many fields of economics. Most striking finding has been that the size of the existing firms contributes more significantly to the economic growth as compared to the setting up of new firms. Rajan and Zingalis 1998 found that in a sample of 43 countries during the 1980s, 2/3 of the growth in industries was contributed by the growth in the size of existing establishments and only the remaining 1/3 from the creation of new ones. The size of the firms has often been used as one of the major determinants for financial decisions, managerial compensation and rate of returns. The boundaries of the firms are changing rapidly. Thus, understanding the theories related to the size of firms becomes necessary to have an idea of growth. The subsequent section deals with the major models that explain the size of firms, growth of firms and the factors that limit the growth of the firm. Firm size. Theories of firm size. Based on the three major focus areas, production function, the process of control or influences of the economic environment, theories related to firm size can be broadly classified as technological, organizational and institutional. Technological theories. Technological theories go back to Adam Smith 1776, who suggested that the size of the market acts as a limiting factor for the size of the firm and the extent of specialization. As the firms become more specialized, workers need to hire more specialized human capital and the worker has to incur a setup cost each time task specific human capital is hired. While the neoclassical theory of firm size by Lucas in 1978 emphasizes the role of the manager, the capital and labor under the manager's control and assumes that the managerial talent varies among the agents, in case the elasticity of substitution between capital and labor is less than 1, the ratio of employees to manager increases as increase in per capita capital raises wages relative to managerial rents, resulting in conversion of marginal managers to employees. Thus, firms in richer countries should be larger and investment per worker and R&D intensity should be positively associated with firm size. Rosen and Kremer suggest a positive correlation between human capital and firm size. Rosen 1982 believed in a hierarchical organizational structure where improved labor productivity at any given level filters through lower levels. Thus, in case of larger firms, persons with highest skills are placed in the highest positions, while Kremer 1993 was of the view that the number of tasks and number of workers are likely to be positively correlated. Hence, countries with higher human capital specialize in complicated products and have larger firms. This leads to the conclusion that the wage of the worker will have positive impact on the firm size, as higher wage would imply higher quality worker. Institutional theories. Firm size is also affected by the institutions through various channels that could be grouped under regulatory and financial categories. Regulations which are costly usually favor the setting up of smaller firms, as these are mostly applicable to larger firms. Smaller firms are also encouraged by strong liability laws which promote creation of separate legal entities. For example, each taxi cab in New York is a separate firm. The limited liability of these separate entities offers protection to these firms. The average size of the firms is also reduced in case of enforcement of antitrust laws. The firm size has also been found to be positively related to financial development and with the factors promoting development of the financial market. A study by Rajan and Zingalis of 1998 found that in both the average size of existing establishments and the number of new establishments in industries, dependence on external finance is affected by financial development. Development of financial markets leads to the birth of more new firms, reducing the average size of firms. At the same time, it enables the existing firms to grow faster, increasing the average size of firms. Organizational theories. Organizational theories fall into three broad categories: contracting cost theories, transaction cost theories, and critical resource theories of the firm. Contracting cost theories suggest that there is hardly any difference in the contracts at work inside a firm and in the market. Firms are considered as a particular configuration of contracts characterized by a central common party to all the contracts. These contracts fail to provide sharp prediction on the size or boundaries of the firm. Transaction cost theories provide guidance to the firms to take decisions on whether a transaction should take place between two arm's length entities or within a firm. Transactions done within the firm brings in more incentive to the firms. The third set of theories, described as critical resource theories, suggest that transactions done are either fully governed by contracts enforced by courts or by developing other mechanisms which are non-contractual and confer power to either party involved in the transaction. Growth of the firm. The need for growth. Growth of the firm has been considered as one of the most important corporate objectives because it is common belief that increasing output would result in raising total profits of the firm. This would increase the efficiency of the firm through economies of scale, scope, and learning. Growth of the firm is essential for the firms as it increases the market share and market power, enabling the firms to charge higher prices. As the firm grows, the unit management cost decreases as the governance is more or less indivisible irrespective of the firm size. Acquisitions of key suppliers and sales outlets done while the firm grows results in reduced transaction cost. The larger the firm size, the lesser the risk and uncertainty involved. Larger firms are more capable of diversifying into new products. This shields the firms from problems faced by the falling demand of key markets. Growth in firms also increases the marginal security of the firms from unwanted takeover bids. Growth models. The major growth models which have been used to explain the growth of firms are the simple growth model, Baumol's, Penrose, and the Maris growth model. All of these models suggest that growth is the main objective of the firm. These theories are more concerned about maximizing growth rate of the firm than maximizing the profit. The Penrosian model is more focused on the internal operation of the firm, while Baumol's model explains growth through the desire to maximize the rate of growth of sales. Maris's model determines the growth rate by combining the conflicting objectives of the manager and owners and the rate of stock market growth. Maris's model of firm growth has been dealt with in a separate module. The simple growth module. Growth of the firms is mainly concerned with growth of revenue, growth of costs, and growth of profits. To determine the potential future earnings of the firms, the present value of each stream is used for comparison. Based on Baumol 1962, it can be assumed that the growth rate achieved, input and output prices are fixed for a firm. Consequences of the growth of revenue are as follows. Let R be the initial rate of revenue of the firm, G be the growth rate, and I the cost of capital. Now, if we were to determine the revenue of the firm's T time periods ahead, revenues earned during the period 0 to T is considered. To convert the revenue stream to present values, the annual revenue sums are discounted at the cost of capital of the firm. The discounted present value of revenue, the PVR, would then be, or the net present value of the costs, PVC, is calculated in a similar way as the net value of profit is determined by calculating the difference between the present value of revenue and the present value of costs. Both the rate of growth of revenue and costs is very crucial in determining the profit. If the rates of growth of revenue and costs are the same, then the net present value of profits will be positive as long as initial revenue exceeds initial costs. In case the rate of growth of cost is greater than revenue, then with the increase in the rate of costs, then the net present value of the profit will start to decline, restraining the optimum growth rate of the firm. Baumol's growth model. Baumol's growth model assumes that the main objective of the firm is to maximize the rate of growth of sales revenue in the long run. The model further assumes that growth of sales is financed by profit, which is dependent on the growth of sales revenue and costs. As the model assumes that profit is used to finance growth, so higher the share of profit retained, the higher will be the rate of growth of sales revenue. Thus, the rate of growth of sales G is a function of profits pi and current sales RT, or G is a function of pi RT. While profit is a function of current sales, rate of growth of sales, capital cost, and other costs. In figure 1, the rate of growth is measured on the vertical axis and sales revenue on the horizontal axis. For the initial level of sales revenue, the growth function is a mirror image of the profit function. The highest rate of growth, GM, is reached where profits are maximized at sales level RM. Figure 1, Baumol's dynamic sales maximization model. Beyond this point, the profit falls and consequently achievable growth rates also falls. Present value of sales is represented by iso present value curves PV in figure 1. The slope is downward from left to right, depicting the combination of revenue and growth that give the same present values of sales given the discount rate. The figure represents the trade-off between growth and revenue. The firm will always make an effort to be at the highest point E, with GE and RE being the level of growth and sales revenue that maximizes the present value of future sales revenue. The endogenous growth theory of the firm, Penrose model. Penrose in 1959 proposed that key determinants of the growth of the firm were internal processes that increase the capacity of production. This model emphasizes the change within the firm and hence it is known as an endogenous growth model. According to this model, firms consist of resources. The growth and the ability to change these resources enables firms to continually increase productive capacity. These resources can be tangible and intangible. Tangible resources include physical assets such as plant, equipment, and physical labor, while intangible includes skills and knowledge about productive and managerial processes. These resources facilitate a supply of heterogeneous range of services to the managers to be used in different activities of the firms. Both the tangible and intangible resources are strongly interlinked with each other. The output for a given unit of tangible resource not just depends on the production function, but also on the intangible resources associated with inputs. Intangible resources like knowledge enable the productive capacity to increase over time. Firms can easily acquire tangible assets as these can be purchased in the market, such as more machines or workers can be hired at a price. But intangible knowledge and skills cannot be easily purchased as they reside within human capital and are acquired through training and experience within the firm and may be put to use only within its specific structure. For example, managers are skilled according to the functioning of the firm and will plan and coordinate the functioning of the firm using firm specific structures and routines. Effectiveness of the individual member is less than the collective effectiveness of the team. The interaction of the team members becomes essential as effectiveness of one is dependent on others. One of the key features of the firm is possession of competence in unique combinations. Competence refers to the ability of resources to combine tangible and intangible resources. It involves complex cooperation between people and other resources. Knowledge and skill enables some resources to be unique and can perform particular tasks more efficiently than others. Competence is unique to the individual firms and has been termed as the architecture of the firm which makes them effective in a given industry and markets. When competence forms the basis of the competitive advantage of the firm, it is termed as core competence of the firm. This represents the collective learning of the organization which enables the firm to undertake complex tasks of organizing a particular activity. The Penrosian model focuses on endogenous growth and identifies the forces responsible for the growth of the firm. The model suggests that with time the resource of the firm tends to accumulate knowledge and skills. This reduces the time and commitment required for performing any task as the procedure becomes a routine work which can be easily learned by others. As the firm acquires more knowledge, managerial and production processes become more routine work. This enables firms to gradually expand their production capabilities. The unused resource becomes available to the firms at zero marginal cost to be used in new activities. This also leads to increasing returns to managerial function with the increase in scale of business. The unused managerial resources now become available for the entrepreneur to be used in expansion of the existing firm or to initiate new ventures. Unlike the managerial models of Baumol and Maris, the Penrose model has no equilibrium solution as it emphasizes that growth of any particular firm depends on the way in which individual enterprises make use of any underutilized resources and overcome the limits to growth. Growth strategies, vertical integration and diversification. Two major strategies adopted by firms to grow are vertical integration and diversification. In case of vertical integration, separate but linked processes of production are brought under common ownership. Production is an outcome of a series of activities which are linked. A vertically integrated firm is the one which makes all the inputs required for production on its own. The degree of integration may vary depending on the firm's decision to integrate the steps or hold the ownership of different stages. This strategy has been successfully used by firms to change both sides and boundary of the firm. Diversification strategy is adopted by the firm to overcome the constraint on the growth of the firm imposed by rate of growth of demand of existing product. Here the firm diversifies into production of new products which have higher potential for growth in demand. Diversification is regarded as a growth strategy where a single product firm gets converted into a multi-product firm. The firm may get involved in production of either an entirely new set of products which is unrelated to their original activity, or they may continue with new products that are related to their existing activities. However, diversification strategy for growth has risk associated with it. Success depends on number of factors like change in consumers' decision to shift their expenditure on to new products. Number of diversification projects taken up by the firm also determines the success of this strategy, as the initial diversification earns more profits than later ones, as firms opt for more profitable projects initially. Both vertical integration and diversification have been dealt with in detail in subsequent models. Limits to growth. Management has been identified as the main constraint on the growth of the firm by Penrose and Richardson, and this has been termed as the Penrose effect. Growing firms usually do not have any problem in raising the finances or exploring new markets. However, they face major challenges of expanding the size of the managerial team without compromising with its effectiveness. Thus, a limit to the size of the firm is the capacity of the existing team to manage an organization of a given size and complexity. Expanding the management team reduces the effectiveness, as new members need to be trained, and it is likely that they may not perform as well as the existing ones. There is always a risk associated in hiring an outsider due to the uncertainty about the performance level. The major disadvantage with respect to a newcomer is that they have to overcome the learning curve as depicted in figure 2. Managerial constraints to growth of the firm, figure 2. The horizontal axis has the growth rate of the firm and the vertical axis has the growth rate of the managerial team. A positive relationship exists between the managerial team and the growth of the firm as shown by the curve GM. The starting point of the curve is OG, which represents the rate of growth that the firm can achieve without any expansion of the managerial team. The slope of the curve also represents the diminishing returns to higher growth of management. This indicates that expansion of the managerial team requires fresh recruitment that is less effective than the existing one. Negative relationship between the growth of firm and managerial team is depicted by the curve VR. This is because induction of new members in the team would require more time and effort on their training, leaving less time for the growth of the firm. The overall effect of growth of management on the growth of the firm is given by GS, which is the sum of two opposite effects given by VR and GM. The curve GS shows that growth rate of the firm increases from G to G star as the rate of managerial growth increases from OM star. Any further increase in growth of management will have a negative effect on the growth of the firm. The other factors that limit growth of a firm include cost, non-managerial resources, demand and finance. Summary. Firm size theories are classified as technological, organizational and institutional based on the three major focus areas: production function, the process of control or influences of the economic environment. Technological theories emphasize the role of manager in determining the firm size. Institutional theories suggest that firm size is affected through institutional channels that could be grouped under regulatory and financial categories. And organizational theories explain that firm size using contracting cost theories, transaction cost theories and critical resource theories of the firm. The major growth models for firm's growth are the simple growth model, Baumol's model, Penrose and Maris's growth model, where growth is the main objective of the firm. These theories are more concerned about maximizing growth rate of the firm than maximizing of profit. Penrosian model is more focused on the internal operation of the firm, while Baumol's model explains it through the desire to maximize the rate of growth of sales. Maris's model determines the growth rate by combining the conflicting objectives of the manager and owners. The factors limiting the growth of the firm include management, cost, non-managerial resources, demand, finance and other opportunities.